Hello, my name is Sean Ennis from Ennis Management, and thank you for joining me here once again on the Creative Collective. And today I'm honored to be joined by a very special guest. She's a recording artist from Toronto, Canada, Kristen Karma.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. So talk to me about the Toronto music scene.
The Toronto music scene is full of wonderful and neat bands and musicians that are all upcoming. It's got a mixture of pop and rock and alternative and rap and everything. It's really cool. And it's really cool to see what the artists are doing out here and how they're putting on their shows and what kind of music they're releasing. A little bit of everything.
And how did you decide on your stage name?
So my stage name is my legal first name, and the last name Karma is actually the first 5 letters of my legal last name. So it was just that point of chopping off the last 5 letters, and I was doing some. I had my song played on the radio a while back, and they were just butchering the last name, and a friend of mine said, "Why don't you just chop it off? Karma's a cool last name." So I ended up doing that, rebranded, and kept it.
Well, I like it.
Thank you.
Now, what genre of music do you consider your work to be?
So it is pop music, but I like to kind of push the boundaries of pop a little bit and sort of bring in, the rock and dance kind of vibes to it. So a lot of my music has the underlying dance beats with the hard rock guitar solos and the pop melodies, and it kind of infuses together to create the pop sound that I have.
And what would you say makes you different from other artists?
As for difference, I think a lot has to do with the combinations, like I mentioned, with what I do, how I infuse those instruments and beats into my music, but a lot has to do with my stage presence as well as what I do for my live shows. So it's a little bit different than what people are doing out here. I do have a full band with me, and they have them wearing sort of a uniform there, a uniform costume, that kind of thing. I've got my costumes that I wear, different gear, like a light up microphone stand and that kind of thing. So the aesthetics are very different in how that's set up. But when it comes to the music, it's just fun pop dance music. Everyone's dancing by the end of my show.
And what made you want to invest that much into your live performances? Why was that important to you?
Because you can always go to a producer and get a really good quality song done. And if people want to just listen to the music, that's great. They can buy it on iTunes or Amazon Music or that kind of thing. But when I really wanted to create special moments during my show, so I started researching what other bands were doing, what the bands I like are doing, and that kind of thing, and how they look and how they act, and do they have an intro? Do they have this? Do they have that? That kind of thing. And so I started building my show and really investing in different things that make me different. And now people, when I'm performing, they're, "Oh yeah, that's where did you get your microphone stand?" They didn't know I had a custom made from the UK. Or where did you get this? Or where did you get that? Who made your costume? And it's different. So I'm known for these little pieces around town that are going to set me apart from just a normal band that's out there that's just playing, the same venue, the same type of music.
And what song or kind of music is your favorite to perform?
What my favorite song to perform is a song called "Belief." It was written for my mother when she was battling cancer the first time around, and it just really helped her because she was sort of at a point where she kind of wanted to give up and let things go. down the road that they were going, and I wrote the song, I had it done, I gave it to her for her birthday and had her listen to it. And it's one of her favorites, it's one of my favorites, and it definitely it has a lot of just emotion behind it, and it's probably the song that I change up the most, as in I've kept the dance version of it, I've made it acoustic, I've brought in an acoustic artist to feature on it, I've changed it up so that it's never quite the same every time I play it, which is kind of cool.
And it sounds like that song, there's a real emotional tie to that song, but what about it also makes it your favorite to perform?
It's just, I can really just put myself into that moment of when I first wrote it, and it's just, it can get super emotional when I sort of bring it down to an acoustic version and just leave everything out there when I'm performing it. The other side is when I do the dance version of it. It's really upbeat. It's really gets people going and happy and dancing. They're singing along, and just watching the fans sing it back to me while I'm performing it. It's great. And this song was also I reached out to the Canadian Cancer Society, and they kind of were playing it around for a bit and sharing it around, which was great. And so it's touched a lot of people, and just to know that every time I sing this song, it affects somebody in some way at the show. I'm always getting a comment after about the song and the performance and wanting to know the story and that kind of thing. So it's just an emotional song for me.
And you mentioned the fan interaction while you're performing.
Yes.
Can you talk about the experience of being a live performer and what that's like?
Yeah, so I perform with a full band behind me, and the performance is usually jam-packed. I don't do a lot of talking in it. I mean, the fans are there to experience the music and the moments and that kind of thing. So I'm I've got my intro going for the show, which really builds it up. It goes right into the first couple of songs. I take it down, bring it up, that kind of thing. It's the energy is always there. If I feel like the crowd's a little bit, I don't know, just kind of standing there, I'll play a song that's really going to get them moving. I just want to make sure everybody has a good time, and the way to do that through my music is to play these upbeat, dancey pop songs that I write. So I love performing. I love when my fans are out there singing my words back to me, my lyrics, and I love getting them involved in the show and even bringing them up on stage to dance or to sing something with me or sing the cover. It's there's nothing quite like it out there.
Can you think of one of your earliest memories involving music?
One of my earliest memories, I remember when my parents first brought home a piano. I'd been bugging them for a while, and I was 9 years old, and I came home from school, and there was this electric piano in the living room, and I was just, my eyes lit up. Funny, because I actually saw this picture of exactly when I had come up the stairs to see this picture about a couple weeks ago, and just my eyes were lit up. I sat down. They had this little book, and I went through the book like no tomorrow, and just went through it. And I was so eager to learn, and just it really captivated me. And just a special moment.
Now, what music or artists have influenced you?
So I've got a couple. The main ones are Lady Gaga, Avril Lavigne, Katy Perry, and the Veronicas out of Australia.
And what about these artists specifically has impressed you or made an impact on you?
They're all extremely talented songwriters, and they really know how to work a stage. They really have everything kind of I figured out in that aspect. Freaking vocalists, just, well, there's all around really good musicians, and even off the stage, watching interviews and that kind of thing, there's extremely down to earth. They're not, they're not rude to their fans. They really take care of their fans and make sure they get what they need, and it's just there's no negativity in their music. There's no angry kind of vibes being portrayed. So yeah, it's the whole package. They all have the whole package.
And is that having a positive message? Is that something that's important to you?
Absolutely. There's a lot of music out there that, especially nowadays, that's on the radio or just on playlists that they don't have a great vibe. They might have a good beat and they might have good. Just like that might be considered a good song, but when you really listen to the message behind it, it's all about drugs or sex or like that kind of thing, and that's not what I want to portray. I dealt with a lot of insecurities on believing in myself and my music, and so I tend to write about things like that, about getting to the next step or hustling or keep doing your thing. There's always going to be somebody, a support system behind you. And that kind of way. So I don't feel like some of the music out there right now is these kids that are 12, 13 years old are going to be listening to this, and that's not really something I want to be singing about to this generation coming up. I want to be everyone to treat kind of everyone nicely and be kind to one another. So.
Now that's really interesting, and you said something that I think everyone can relate with, and that was struggling with insecurities. Now I've also, having worked with a lot of different musicians, I've also noticed that a lot of musicians are, when they're not on stage, are pretty reserved, maybe even introverts. How were you able to go from struggling with insecurities to performing music in front of a bunch of strangers?
It took me a while to get past a lot of my insecurities. I mean, when I started, I was writing my demos in GarageBand and then sending them off to the producer, and like I was being judged on everything by this producer, and like it was kind of awkward, and then I was like, well, how do I go from being judged in a studio with one person or two people to on stage being judged from everyone? But that's kind of why I developed like this, even though it's my same name, but it's like this on stage persona, and it's like I get all dolled up, I get my hair and makeup done, I wear a costume, I have everything that I like on stage, and I think that's kind of helped me a bit, because I can be off stage, I can be who I am off stage, and then on stage is like a different me. But helping me get through that, my parents helped me a lot, telling me every day, you have to believe in yourself. We all believe in you, we all believe in your music, and we all listen to it, and we like it. And when you get on stage, you can see people like it. There's always going to be haters. There's always going to be people who don't like your music. You can't please everybody. So you need to do it for you. Are you proud of it? And so I look back and reflect, and I am proud of it. I'm proud of what I'm putting out. I'm proud of the image that I'm portraying on stage and what I'm doing in my music. And so you just kind of leave everything else by the side, and haters are going to hate. I mean, you just got to keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, being a creative and an artist that, makes art and puts it out to the world, you're really in such a vulnerable position.
Yeah, you really have to open up. I mean, that took me a while to open up and really just let things go and just kind of come up with new things. But I find that the more you open up and the more you let others into how you're feeling and what's going on inside you, the more that they like their music, because they can relate, and so that's really important. And that's mostly why I write about these positive messages, because I'm opening up so much about myself, and then I want to keep it positive, no matter if I think that, or I thought that, like, this was the worst thing or whatnot. I turn it into something positive. They relate to it, and it gets shared around, and people like the music.
And I think that leads me perfectly into my next question. So what inspires you to make music?
What inspires me? I think my mother has a lot to do with it, and what she's gone through and stuff. But anything really, my situations, situations that I've encountered with friends or past friends, or living arrangements, or whatever the case was, traveling, and everything kind of has an influence. Last year I spent the year doing a lot of traveling and gaining new perspective on different parts of the world and different music and that kind of thing, and so it's reflecting in what I'm writing now, which is great. So everything is kind of influencing my music at the moment.
Can you talk to me about your single Party Heroes?
Yeah, so Party Heroes is my latest single. It was released on April 6th. Available everywhere, Spotify, iTunes, that kind of thing. And it's just a feel-good, get up and dance, in your face kind of pop tune about partying. And the story behind it is that I was hosting a party here in Toronto when I had first moved here, and everyone was, it was 11:30, everyone was kind of, done and ready to go, and a friend of mine showed up with her entourage and kind of turned up the music and turned up, brought more food, more people, and everybody that was ready to leave was like, oh no, something new is happening, and just kind of, stayed behind, and it was really good. It lasted longer than I thought. So I thought that I was like, I need to write about this girl. Like, she's a party hero. How many people show up to these parties and really, like, bring the fire, So I started writing notes and that kind of thing, and went into the studio with my producer Mark, and we finalized the song, and it's a great hit.
And how has been the response since you've released it?
It's been amazing. Everyone's loving it. It peaked at number 17 on the iTunes Top 20 chart for pop music in Canada, which was amazing to chart there. But yeah, everyone's loving it. I'm constantly getting messages almost daily about how people are loving the song, adding it to their playlists. It's just a really good song.
Now, do you have a title yet for the album you're finishing up? And also, what can we expect from this album?
No title yet. I'm still in the studio recording, so it could be listed off of one of the title tracks. I'm not too sure yet. What can you expect? So this is just going to be jam-packed full of some really good pop music with some good beats. It's going to be a little something for everybody on there. It's not all going to be about partying, but I'm really excited for it. I can't share too much because a lot of it's still in the works, but I'm just pretty excited for it. Excited to see where it's going to take me.
And are you planning to collaborate in the future with any artists? I've one of the singles I'm working on now. There's going to be a rap feature on it. I'm always looking to collaborate with musicians and artists, and really kind of even cross genres a little bit and make things interesting, so the listeners always got something new to listen to. So yeah. And what do you enjoy about collaborating with different producers and other musicians?
Well, the fact that they bring something different. Each of them brings something different to the table. Some are, trance producers, and they do a remix of my song, which is completely different than what I've ever could have envisioned, which is kind of cool. Or they're more predominant in R&B or whatever their case is, or they play a completely different instrument that I've never incorporated into my music before, and it's just they bring that a sense of excitement to the music, because I don't know what it's going to sound like. They don't know what it's going to sound like in the end once it's all produced. It's just kind of, again, the mishmashing of genres, and just mixing it up a little bit, keeping things interesting.
And I also think it's good for musicians when they collaborate together. It gives them access to a new audience.
Yeah, absolutely, because they're going to share it with their fans. I'm going to share it with my fans, and I'll gain some new ones. They'll gain some new ones. Yeah, that's just spreading the word, and it grows. It's just going to grow from there.
Now, how important to you is a strong online presence?
It's pretty good. I really enjoy hearing from my fans, and really enjoy, their thoughts, and they're reposting, or they're doing covers of my music and that kind of thing. I think it's pretty important just to keep fans updated. I have a lot of my fans out west, or all over the world, really, and they can't always come to a show, and they can't always, fly over to where I am and see me. So for me to post, what I'm doing, or some new music, or a little behind the scenes, or that kind of thing, it's really important, so they can feel like they're there with me. They know what I'm doing. They're watching the progress and the process.
That's really interesting. Well said as well. What are the characteristics of great music?
I think it's got to have a good message. It's got to have, and the music should be it should be well written. It shouldn't be just, something. You can do something as well written with just a guitar and a voice, but it's got to have a good message, a good flow to the song, a good melody, and the production should be pretty good as well.
What do you value more, creativity or perfect execution?
Creativity, hands down. You can execute something perfect every time, but it's always going to be the same. I mean, when you're creative, you can change things, adjust things. Things are always changing and molding into something new, and new ideas, and new flow, and new everything. It's just, it keeps things exciting and interesting.
Now, what is the most appealing thing about pursuing a music career?
The most appealing thing, I just like performing and sharing my message with my fans. That's what I really enjoy doing, and taking, whatever they're going through, and having them listen to my music and come out the other side feeling better and more positive, or just, really engaged on what the next step is, or they're ready to take on the world. And that's, at the end of the day, what I hope to accomplish with my music. Even if it's just one person that listens to a song and is, you got me pumped up, ready to go. I'm going to go do this. I'm going to go have the time of my life, live my best life. That's what I hope to accomplish, and I'm going to keep doing it.
Now, what has been one of your biggest challenges in your music career, and how have you been able to overcome that challenge?
So one of the biggest challenges when I first started was appearance-wise. I didn't technically look like a pop artist, as defined by today's standards. I wasn't. I just went up there with my curly hair and my jeans and my Converse and that kind of thing, and was just really laid back, and I'd play the music, and nothing really set me apart. Nothing really the music was pop rock music. It was out west in Vancouver when I started, and it wasn't anything. It was just kind of looked like just another girl trying to front a band. It was just that. So I just did a lot of research on what bands that I liked were doing and musicians that I liked were doing, how their band was reacting, what they did on stage, how they portrayed themselves off stage, how they were dressing, how they were acting, what kind of gear did they have, were they taking lessons for anything, and I improved my craft 100%, started taking vocal lessons, found the best gear, found the best musicians around that I could find, and I went from there.
Now, what advice could you give for a female aspiring musician or a female musician who's just starting out in her music career?
I'd say you do you. I mean, don't give up on anything. There's gonna be producers, or there's gonna be people around there that are going to tear you down and say, you're not pretty enough, you're too tall, you're too you're not the right size, you don't have big lips, or whatever the case is. And just keep doing you, because you don't need to have all that stuff. If you believe in your craft and you believe that you're the best guitar player out there, you're the best singer out there, I mean, just keep working at it, keep going, because you're gonna reach the top, you're gonna get there. You're always gonna have a support system, and just don't give up on yourself. Just keep going, keep pushing.
That's really great advice.
Thanks.
Can you share your social media links?
Yeah, so my website is kristenkarma.com. So that's KristenKarma.com. I'm on Instagram at Kristen Karma. I'm on Facebook at Kristen Karma Official, YouTube, Twitter, Snapchat, everything. I love hearing from my fans. So anybody, feel free to reach out and say hi. I'm also on iTunes and Spotify and Apple Music. So come check me out.
Now, is there anyone you'd like to acknowledge for offering you financial or emotional support in your music career?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say my mother for sure. My mother's been my rock, always supporting me every day, listening to my music, sharing it around. My best friend Lara, who's been there since day one, helping me lug around my music, my gear, always playing my music, that kind of thing. And actually Michael Stover, who's been helping me with my PR for the new single. It's been great.
Now, is there anything else you'd like to promote or share?
Just stay tuned for the album. It'll be out, late this year, early next year, and grab my new single, Party Heroes. That's available everywhere.
All right, I'd like to give a big thank you for my guests for joining me here today on the Creative Collective. As always, write your comments below. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share this video. And for all of your promotion, marketing, and music career consulting needs, email ennisproductions@gmail.com.